My name's Whitney Lauritsen. I run the site ecovegangal.com, and so I just saw a show of hands of people who have been to my website. How many of you have not been to my website or never heard of me? Okay, cool. Majority of you, which is fine. So it's nice to meet you all. Well, part of my presentation, I kind of go through some visual representation of what I do, but I'll just summarize. Where do I start? So I had it all organized, but I'm a journalist, first of all, but I'm also a filmmaker, photographer, and social media. And hi, Janice, back there. So excited. Her talk is next, too. How many of you are sticking around for that? Please do, if you weren't planning on it. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Anyway, so I started off as a filmmaker. I went to Emerson College and studied film and was really passionate about that. Moved from Massachusetts to Los Angeles and worked in the film industry for about 5 years. And as I was doing that, I became a vegan when I was a junior in college and got really passionate about that, got really excited about food and all of that, moved to Los Angeles and just felt like, wow, there's just so much amazing food out there. And I just wanted to talk about it all the time. It was just got me really excited. And I've always kind of been a little bit of an environmentalist. You know, when I was growing up, I was taught to recycle, and when I was in college, I was really conservative with paper. I would only print double-sided. I was like really insistent on that, never understood why other students didn't do that sort of thing. And while I was in Los Angeles, one of the great things about LA is that people just kind of come together and there are events all the time. And so I started kind of going to events and talks and things. And one of the first things I did was the local co-op used to have, in Santa Monica, has these incredible little free workshops. And I went to this workshop and saw a few bloggers talking there. And I got really inspired by what they were doing. I started hanging out with them, going to events with them, and I decided that I wanted to blog too. So I started my blog, Eco Vegan Gal, and over the years it just kind of expanded and expanded. And the biggest thing for me was video content. I started a YouTube channel as a filmmaker. I always had my camera with me anyways. I thought, I want to start doing restaurant reviews. I want to start doing event coverage. So I started doing that, and people responded really well to it. At the time, there weren't a lot of people doing videos like that. And that's kind of what launched me. So now I do mainly video content. And as time went on, I got more interested in being as eco-friendly with the vegan lifestyle as possible, as well as eating as healthy as possible. I soon found out that being vegan itself is not the most eco-friendly way to live, and it's not necessarily the healthiest way to live either. A lot of people go vegan for compassion reasons. I think probably the majority of vegans. I should actually look up that number at some point out of curiosity. I actually went vegan for a number of reasons. For me, it was about the environmental benefits, and it was about the health benefits, and it was about the animals. But I've always been a little bit more attracted towards the health side of things. And I started to realize over time that I wasn't really that healthy. I was so excited about being vegan, and I would eat everything, and I would report it on my website, all this food. And then at one point, I decided to try going gluten-free. And it was just kind of an experiment, but it changed so much for me. I immediately shrunk down in size. I never track my weight, but I probably lost about 10 or 15 pounds really fast. And then I also decided to try cutting out soy. And all these digestive problems that I had went away for me. So clearly, I have a lot of sensitivities to gluten and soy, but the more I started getting into this lifestyle, the more I realized that other people do as well. So I've just been on this journey of trying to find, some of the most optimal ways to eat. I don't think that there is one way to eat for everybody, as much as I wish that it was, because it would make things a lot simpler. But there's so many different perspectives out there. So I've been kind of on this mission to just gather as much information from all these different sources as I can and share it with people so that they can kind of get inspired for their own journey. Oh, here it is. All right, cool. So here it is, Eco Vegan Gal. And my little motto here is healthy living for your body and the planet. Sure, I can do it. It's all just for pacing purposes. So here, this is kind of things that I went through. Film degree. My website launched in 2008. Through this, I got really, because of my passions here, I got involved with a lot of people in Los Angeles, which gave me an opportunity to do a lot of written articles. Even though video has been my main passion, I decided to do a lot of writing. So I've written for a lot of websites out there and got a lot of exposure. And recently, or last year, anybody been to the Eco-Rotzi website before? All of these websites are really cool. So Organic Authority is a really great source for organic information, not necessarily vegan. Women's Conference is Maria Shriver's website. And long story short, we met once, and she personally invited me to write for that site, which was really neat. She's an amazing woman. And Eco Stiletto, anybody been to that? Really great for eco fashion. Healthy Bitch Daily, I'm sure many of you have read Skinny Bitch, yes. So Healthy Bitch Daily is Kim, the co-author's website. She's coming out with all these amazing books. And Eco-Rotzi is a whole like paparazzi style, what celebrities are doing that's eco-friendly. So I had a little show, a series for them for a little while until I got too busy. But you should check that out too. And I've had the pleasure of working with some amazing filmmakers. I worked for Forks Over Knives, right before. We had no idea it was going to be as huge as it was. And I ended up working with them at the tail end of the project, which was amazing, and the filmmakers of Fuel and The Big Fix. So just doing this website has given me exposure to a lot of amazing people and things. So as far as what I talk about, you've already gotten a little introduction to what I do on my site, but I do health and wellness tips, green guidance, vegan advice, product reviews and restaurant reviews, recipes, tutorials, and interviews with all these incredible people that I meet. What do I kind of stand for? What do I put out? What do I consider eco-veganism? Well, I have these kind of 16 different elements of what I look for within a product or anything health-related or restaurant-related. So for me, it's about organic, GMO-free, gluten-free, soy-free, sugar-free, low or no salt, low and no oil. And a lot of people will see this list and they'll think that it's really strict and it scares people away. And for me, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. For me, I do as much as I can. So organic is really, this kind of goes in order of importance. Organic and non-GMO are really, really important to me for environmental reasons and for health reasons. And then gluten-free is probably about 90-something%, and soy-free as well. But I kind of see this perspective as, having fun too and not limiting yourself too much. Like when I come to events like this, I've already had a little bit of gluten while I was here. I don't think I've had any soy yet. I've had a little bit of sugar. I've had a little bit of oil and salt. And, it's kind of like a little bit, but the majority of my diet, based on the research that I've done, is that keeping all of these to a minimum is kind of what most people will agree upon as an optimal way of eating. I've actually get more and more into leaning more towards the raw food diet, but I don't really want to exclude any of this stuff. I think it's important for people to have all these different options, to have this wide range and not feel too restricted. I think that's a huge thing with the vegan diet. People get scared of restricting things or the health thing. It's all about restrictions. And it's really nice to be able to open yourself up, but just have these general guidance for the way that you live. And then as far as just other products and other lifestyle, fair trade, made in the USA and local when you can get it, recycled and recyclable, biodegradable, compostable, eco-packaging, so buying things that have little or no packaging or at least made out of recyclable or biodegradable, compostable materials, things that are energy efficient, and of course non-toxic. And all of these are the things that I kind of explore throughout my website and what I'm really inspired to learn myself and to inspire other people and enlighten other people about. Non-toxic is actually probably out of all of this the thing that gets the least amount of exposure. One thing that I've delved into more recently is beauty and realizing how many body care for both men and women have so many toxic ingredients. So I'm trying really hard to expose the products that are the cleanest for us. For me personally, like coconut oil is like one of the biggest things I use. I use it for cooking whenever I do use some oil, and I use it for moisturizer. I've made my own lip balms and chapsticks out there before. And it's amazing what I've been learning and how much of this lifestyle can be so simple and so relaxed and so, open to so many possibilities that we can do just within our own home. We don't have to go out and buy a ton of products. We don't have to spend a ton of money. The more simple we get, even though this might seem complex and strict, it's actually just kind of those something to think about as you're going through your lifestyle. So these are just some ways that you can get in touch with me, and then I want to open it up to questions and discussions and things like that. Ooh, that does not look good. It looked good on the Mac, but anyways. So I can continue talking, or I can open it up to questions. I find that through my website, I like the best of having conversations with people. I do that a lot on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and it's so fun to just be able to hear what concerns people have, what questions people have, or any success stories. Like, does anybody here have anything that they want to share or ask on any of the topics I've brought up? Anything you want me to go more in depth on? No, nothing? Come on. Yes.
I just started reading that maybe about 11 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Pretty much everything that you listed is the way I've been going. But I'm curious about supplements. I know that you can get just about everything from the plants except B12, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Nutritional use.
Yep.
Is there any supplements that you think in addition to, though, that you are going 100% of what you're saying?
Most people would say that the biggest supplements to take is B12, as you've mentioned, and it's better. Nutritional yeast, as far as my research has gone, is not an optimal source of it, unfortunately. And you can get a little bit of it in some sea vegetables, but most people recommend that you take a supplement. So I always look for supplements that are organic, from really reputable companies. From an environmental perspective, I always try to buy things in glass. There aren't any that I found and absolutely love off the tip of my tongue, but I can definitely point you in the right direction. Do you live around here?
I live in Brestow.
Okay. Rainbow Grocery, I was going to say, is my number one, recommendation. But Whole Foods, of course, is amazing. But online is always the cheapest way. And I haven't found a perfect B12 yet, but I bet you Janice would. I wouldn't be surprised. She probably has one. Vitamin D is also very important, but most people would recommend they just spend a good amount of time out in the sun, although there are supplements for that too. I'm not a nutritionist by any means, so I can point you in the right direction, but I have a feeling that Janice is an expert on a lot of these topics, so you should definitely stick around for the next one. By the way, the reason I keep mentioning her is she has written one of the best books that I've come across. It is on my shelf and has completely marked out all these. It's just amazing. So please stick around for that one. Anything else that people are thinking about? Yes. Hey.
So I'm a new vegan. I was a vegetarian many years, but I've been a vegan for about a year and a half. And then what I find is that if I post something on Facebook and I have a friend or an acquaintance who is like, hey, I like what you're doing, how do I become a vegan? So what would be because for me, it was literally, I just went off the cliff. It was cold. Once it clicked in here, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't need transitional.
Yeah.
But for some of those friends who do need that, what would be the top 3 things I can tell them to just help jumpstart them without shocking their system?
Right. Well, I think I'm the same way. I mean, I went vegetarian literally overnight. I can remember the last meals that I had, and I don't really remember the vegan side of it, but that was pretty fast for me too. But it's different for every person, some people are really scared of it and it takes them a while and they might go back and forth. And I think, as I mentioned before, it's really important to remind people that it's about adding things in and not restricting. It shouldn't be scary. And I'm always a big promoter, and you can compare me to a lot of other vegans out there that are activists and all that. And I have a very relaxed, nice approach to it. And some people think that might be not strict enough in a way, but I kind of feel like the nicer and more happier and good feelings that you put out there, and not making people feel too bad about themselves sometimes helps a lot, making them feel good about the changes that they've made instead of what they're doing wrong. But it differs from person to person. Some people like it when you're mad at them and remind them that they're killing animals and they're ruining the environment. Other people, I know you wouldn't, but other people out there want the more, sweet perspective. So you kind of have to judge it from person to person. But I always find that that's my approach that people like, and then I'll find random people, especially like through Facebook, like friends of mine, be like, oh, I made this great vegan recipe today, and they'll come out of the woodwork, and because I don't take that harsh approach to it. So I let them kind of slowly make their transition. If somebody's got to make the choice themselves to go vegan or, be environmentalist or something, you can't force them. It's up to them, as much as we wish that everyone would go do it.
The other part, which is, what are your thoughts? Because I know, I'm really allergic to soy, but I know for me, I didn't know what to put in certain foods, so I use those transitional foods like soy ground beef, and I had a bad reaction. And I cook with them once in a while when I just want some comfort food, something relatable to what my girlfriend's eating.
Yeah.
So, what is your take on that? Do you think it's a good thing to have those soy cheese replacements as someone's transitioning, or do you think it's best to just really try to guide people and just say, just don't even go there and just try to...
Well, soy is a hot topic. I mean, soy for me, I'm sensitive. I've tried, sometimes I wish I could eat soy because there's so many great products out there. Of course, organic and non-GMO. Really, if you want to eat soy, if it doesn't bother your body, have organic and non-GMO. So, but there's so many great products now. When I first went vegan, soy was almost the only option. I remember I hated the taste of rice milk compared to soy for a while. But now I really don't like the taste of soy because there's so many other great products. If you think about all the milk alternatives out there, there's coconut milk and there's rice milk and hazelnut seed and hemp seed and sunflower seed and pretty much any seed you could want. There's tons of soy-free cheeses. Daiya cheese is completely soy-free, which I think is one of the best vegan cheese alternatives out there. Ice creams, there's coconut milk-based ice creams out there. I can't even think of something in my life that I feel like I have to have cheese. There's, vegan mayo, all the Vegenaise versions out there, all the other companies, Earth Balances, they actually have soy-free mayo out there too. You just have to look for the labels because so many people are opening up to this soy-free way of life.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes. Hey.
Do you have any recommendations? I've been looking for a mattress, and I've had a hard time with the laws in California. I don't know if you know.
With the chemicals and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the walls.
I am a big fan. Gosh, now I'm totally blanking on the name of the company. There are a couple. Keetsa is one that's big environmental mattress company, and the other one that I like even better is an organic one. And I'm completely blanking. It'll come to me as soon as I move away from this topic. I haven't researched them too in depth yet. But I'd be happy to. That's actually a topic I want to. So yeah, there are laws with a lot of weird issues, but there's definitely a solution to it. Yeah. Other questions? Come on, there's got to be more. How many of you are not vegan? It's okay, don't be worried about raising your hands. What brought you here today? Are you just curious about going vegan? How many of you are not even vegetarian yet? Anybody? So you're curious about the lifestyle, which is great. I think it's so important for me that no one ever feels negative about it or scared of it or pressured or worried about other people's opinions on it. It's so great that you all are here. It's such a good starting point. And one of the biggest things that you can get to be a successful, vegan or healthy vegan or eco-vegan, whatever aspect of it you want to take, is to just gain support. And that's really what I'm all about right now is supporting people through me, but also through the communities, Facebook and Twitter. It's amazing. The connections you can make. Google Plus actually has been pretty cool. At the beginning of the year, I led a cleanse, And I had everybody join a Google group. And I started chatting with them in the beginning, and then I stepped aside, and I was amazed. People were talking with each other from across the world about giving them support for doing this 30-day cleanse. So the number one thing I could recommend for anyone is coming to events like this, but finding people online, whether it's me or all the other amazing people that are in this room even, that could support you through your journey. And just, like I said, not being too concerned. This might seem a little scary, especially if you're not even vegetarian yet, because vegetarianism and veganism alone might seem like a huge thing to come across. And I just kind of say, well, think about these things and keep them in mind and do the best that you can. I've been vegan for almost 9 years now, and it's taken me up to this point to incorporate this into my life. Yes?
I think what I've seen two of the hardest things is getting your spouse to go along with it.
Yeah.
The thing is in my case, my daughter doesn't really have a very good kitchen setup, and so that really causes, eating out is an issue.
Eating out is an issue?
Well, I know that in her case, she doesn't really have a good kitchen setup, so she does eat out a lot.
I see. So when she eats out, that's her sitting next to you? Yes? Or no? Oh, hi. When you eat out, that's when you will go away from the vegan diet? Where do you live? You guys said that you live somewhere in California, right? Okay, I don't know this area very well.
Your slice of life is Sebastopol, which is vegan except for the cheese. And so all you have to do is ask them to put vegan cheese on it.
Yeah, when you go out, you could. Salads are always the option, right? But pasta. Most, believe it or not, there's this misconception that most pastas contain egg. And in my experience, almost every time I go to a restaurant and ask if the pasta is dairy-free, egg-free, they're going to say yes. So before I went gluten-free, pasta was the main go-to thing, or I would get a sandwich or something. There's only one time, I think, ever that I've gone to a restaurant and not been able to eat something. And even then, it was it's a long story, but I was able to eat sliced up tomatoes or something, right? Which is fine. But, a lot of things I do is I almost always bring something with me. I bring, nuts or something, nuts to keep me, energized, give me that protein whenever I need it. I'm really into green apples right now for the fiber and all the other nutritional benefits. So I always bring a green apple with me, and I bring a bottle of water, and sometimes I'll throw in some protein powders or something. So even if I were in a place where I had to go to a restaurant and they didn't have a lot of vegan options, I had something to fill me up for that couple hours, and then I can go and get something. Yeah.
I got a great comment on that. A lot of times if you go to a vegan eatery and just let the server know or the chef know that you're vegan, I've had so many times that the chef has taken great pride in fixing something specifically for me, knowing that I'm vegan. And as long as I know it's vegan, I'll just tell the chef to surprise me. And they love that. If they're a chef, not just a cook.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I've had the same exact experiences. Sometimes chefs get really excited.
Sonoma County does have a lot of vegan restaurants and stuff now. Santa Rosa, Petaluma.
And this is exactly what I mean by support. Going online is the best thing. If you can get involved with a Facebook or Twitter community, you would be amazed. I go on Twitter now, and within a few months of being on Twitter, I had this great community, and I could go on there and be like, where do I eat Sonoma County? And I would have all these answers. Or I do that on Facebook, or I do that in a forum or something. So the online support is amazing. So do that before you give up. And also, if anybody has a smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or another one, get some apps. There's some credible vegan apps, especially, I only have experience with the iPhone, but I'm amazed at all the eating out apps. Yelp alone is incredible for finding vegan food. That's pretty much all I use these days. So many options. And really, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to be available to talk afterwards if any of you have any questions that you want to come up, and I could talk for a lot longer. But come to me on all these pages that I mentioned. Whatever you're on, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Foursquare, Pinterest, Tumblr, Google+, and LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on the top 3, and then it goes by order of activity. But you can always reach me through their email. And my biggest passion is being able to help people and inspire people. So whatever I can do to help you become healthier vegans, more environmentally friendly vegans, or just vegan in general, that's what I'm there for. And please stick around for Janice's talk. It's really, I'm just blown away with what she's doing and what she's done with the book that she published. So, what's it called? The plant perfect formula. Yes, yes, it's fantastic. The perfect formula diet, right? Yes. Sorry, it's been a while since I've talked about it, but it's easily one of my favorite books. And I'm not saying that, just saying that because she's standing there. All right, thanks so much for coming, everyone.